Hello friends, welcome to Saturday's edition of yet another incredible stuff. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are around the world. This is Srikanth Kocharlakota for NRI Samay Community Radio from Los Angeles. This is fascinating stuff. This northeastern hill state of Sikkim aims to go fully organic by 2015. Now, going organic is a new mantra in this cute little state as the government promoted organic farming in a big way. So the idea of organic farming has picked up amongst this 50,000 and odd farming families of this hilly state of Sikkim. So by 2015, the state of Sikkim plans to be converted into a certified organic state. Now, what's this organic farming all about? Now, organic farming is a form of agriculture that relies on techniques such as crop rotation, green manure, compost, and biological pest control. So organic farming uses fertilizers and pesticides but excludes or strictly limits the usage of manufactured fertilizers or synthetic fertilizers as they call it, or even pesticides which include herbicides, insecticides and fungicides, and plant growth regulators such as hormones, livestock antibiotics, food additives, genetically modified organisms, human sewage sludge and nanomaterials. But thinking about how did this all start about in the first place. So in 2003, Chief Minister Pawan Chamling brought a resolution to convert the entire state into organic state in the State Assembly and constituted a Sikkim State Organic Board. More than 8,000 hectares of land was already converted under organic certifications in the state during till 2009. Under this scheme, the state even banned the sale of chemical fertilizers and pesticides as well. So today on NRI Samay Community Radio, we are in conversation with Dorjee Tenzing Bhutia, the Additional Executive Director of Sikkim Organic Mission, and he will explain it all on NRI Samay about this amazing and incredible efforts. So, Dorjee ji, namaste. Thank you very much for coming on air and then explaining us the initiative of Sikkim going the organic route. Thank you, sir.
Namaste ji.
Thank you. Sir, Dorjee ji, tell me, where did this idea of organic farming start from?
As you know, organic farming, the concept, of course, was there earlier also, but then in Sikkim, as far as Sikkim is concerned, we also had the idea of organic farming and how to do. But then, for that, the initiative of the government is needed. So it was Honorable Chief Minister of Sikkim who brought the resolution in the State Assembly in 2003. In 2003, in the country, no other states had started, but our state started in 2003. Chief Minister himself brought a resolution in the State Assembly, and since then, directives were issued, policies were framed, roadmaps were put there, and now we are moving ahead.
Oh, awesome. This is pretty much one of the best initiatives, and the northeastern state taking such a wonderful initiative should be spread across the world. Sir, when you started this idea of organic farming, a lot of people would have been doubtful, right? There would be initial resistance to the idea from various quarters. Some people would say this is not feasible, and the political clout will say something else, and scientists and intellectuals will say that we have to go the GM route, genetically modified route, because that will curb the poverty and also the food security and many other things. So when the idea started off, did you face any kind of resistance, sir?
In the initial stage, there was little bit of problem. As such, there was no resistance. But then, little bit of doubts were there in the minds of farmer whether we will be able to do without chemicals or not. It took about 1.5 hours for us to explain them, and then the switch over from the conventional system to the organic system of farming. Slowly, farmers, they picked up. They started doing by themselves. The crops also didn't fail, and that way, slowly, farmers they are doing it their own. As far as political side is concerned, in our state, so there's no opposition here towards the initiative of the ruling government, and so there was political also. We got a lot of support in the cause.
Oh, very good. So you've mentioned about conventional farming and then government taking this initiative and eventually farmers migrating from the conventional farming to the organic farming. Can you bring out difference between what was the conventional farming like and what's the organic farming like, sir?
No, conventional farming, actually, to tell you very frankly, our state, Sikkim, is a hilly state.
Right.
So we started using fertilizer only in the late 60s, 67, 68, in India after the Green Revolution. And in Sikkim, that time, our people didn't know about fertilizers. In 67, 68 only, then with the initiative of the government, then chemical fertilizers were brought, pesticides were brought, and slowly farmers were used to it. So they were doing in that, with the chemicals they were doing. But the consumption was not very high. Our state consumed only about 7 kgs per hectare when we stopped in 2003. So it is as, we can call it as negligible quantity. Compared to other states of India like Punjab, Haryana, they use more than 200 kgs a hectare. So that way it was easier for us, to convince the farmer and take up the program.
Oh, okay. So when you're talking about chemical fertilizers and pesticides that are being used in the modern farming world, you also mentioned about Punjab using a lot of chemical fertilizers and pesticides.
Yeah. You can call it as a dumping ground,
Oh,
these places, like dumping ground of chemicals. Yeah.
Oh, dumping ground for chemicals. There you go. So when we talk about this, there is a Government of India quota of chemical fertilizers, right, sir? Now, when you say, I'm hearing that Sikkim state has banned the usage of chemical fertilizers. So, is it true that Sikkim state has banned these chemical fertilizers, sir?
Yeah, in the year 2003, when it was declared, after that there was certain policies were framed. So under that, we generally get quota from Government of India because the quota fertilizer is subsidized. So we surrendered the Government of India quota and stopped lifting chemicals from the factories. So that way, fertilizer coming into our state, slowly, reduced. Not reduced, all of us, almost stopped. Yes.
Wow.
Hello.
That's incredible.
And then...
Yeah, go ahead.
Any problem? Any problem?
No, go ahead, sir. Yeah.
So that way, when we stopped lifting the Government of India quota, fertilizer didn't come into our state. And besides that, whatever little bit of quantity was left within the state, that also our sale points, were closed down. And we have agencies, dealing with the fertilizers, and licenses of those agencies also were cancelled. And that way, chemicals were stopped coming into the state since then.
Very good. And it seems like this conversion to organic farming, Sikkim state has defined some fixed timelines, and state is also very serious in reaching these targets and timelines. Can you explain what these timelines and targets are, sir?
Actually, in the year 2010, although it was declared in 2003, the work were not moving fast because, when we are switching over from one system to another system, it will take little time. So, in the year 2010, this mission called Sikkim Organic Mission was launched. And since then, the programs of organic farming, started moving in a mission mode. And under that mission, we have a certain time frame target. Our state is a very small state, with an area of about 76,000 hectares of cultivable land. Right. So, what we did, the government actually phased out. In 2003, when we started, we took a little bit of area. Around 8,000 hectares of land has already been certified, and around 50,000 hectares of area, cultivable area, has to be converted into organic by 2015. So 2015 is the deadline. It was phased out in 3 phases. First phase in 2010-11, target was 18,000 hectares. Against the target of 18,000, we have taken up 18,242 hectares. Now it has reached into C2 status. And again in 2011-12, the target was another 18,000. Against the target, we took 20,708 hectares, which is in the C1 stage. And this year, we are taking, against a target of 14,000, we are taking around 70,500 hectares, including cardamom area. We have plantation also, cardamom. So that way, in 3 years, 50,000 hectares was phased out into 3 phases of 10, 11, 11, 12, and 12, 13. So the 12, 13 area being taken up in 12, 13 will be finally certified by 2015. So that is why 2015 is the deadline.
Wow. So ideally by 2015, Sikkim would be the first state in our country.
Yeah, first state of the country, to be fully organic.
Wow.
50,000 hectares the target. 8,000 hectares has already been certified. We have another around 15,000 hectares of cardamom land, which is grown in wild. We call it as a wild harvest. So that way, around 76,000 hectare cultivable land area will be converted into organic by 2015.
Right. And also, sir, when you started this program and while you progress, the fundamental thing is proper education to the farmers in order to accomplish this Mission 2015 for Sikkim, right? And also making these farmers switch to the organic model, as you mentioned earlier, also is not very easy. So how did you use various channels in the state? Of course, this is politically driven. The Chief Minister has taken a wonderful initiative, and as you mentioned, all the political parties have cooperated. So, which is a wonderful thing to hear about. So, how did the government channels? How did you use various channels to educate these farmers? Does the panchayats, NGOs, and other bodies play a role, sir?
Yes. Panchayats are the NGOs, self-help groups, and the government agencies. Government agencies means we have village-level workers in every village. Mm-hmm. So by orientation, by training, by motivating, slowly, farmers in the initial stage, they had a little bit of doubt. That also later on, through the training, through orientation, they are convinced, and now they are used to this organic system of farming.
I'm not very much aware of how the media works there. So do you guys use the media channels and other outlets?
Yes. Media we use,
Oh, okay.
We get cooperation of the media also. Yeah.
Oh, and then you roll out advertisements and other things in the media in order to educate these people saying that.
Yeah, that also we are doing.
Oh, wow. Very good. Sir, also I was quite surprised to read that there's some kind of a chapter that was introduced by the government for students in the syllabus to educate about organic farming. This is very, very interesting. Can you explain about what chapter is included and what kind of education you give to the students, sir?
Actually, it is, our basic objective is to inculcate the idea of organic farming, the concept of organic farming, in the minds of the younger generation. The school children, especially the government schools in the rural areas, in hilly area, even in the mainland states, you find that majority of the schools in the rural areas. So in the rural area, it is government schools mostly. So children studying in the government schools, they also help their parents in farming during holidays, and morning, evening, free time. So what we thought, this direct, contact, we telling farmers, and their children, telling their parents, we thought that, if we educate the children, and they may go home and explain their parents about the organic farming. So that way, this indirect extension may take place. So we thought like that, and we introduced a syllabus in the junior level, 5th, 6th, and 7th standard. We wanted to try, but then 6th and 7th is in India it is governed by NCERT. So in the state, up to class 5. It is a state matter. So we are introducing this in the class 5th standard students, the basic idea of organic farming, what are the benefits, why we should go into organic, what are the advantages. So these basic things, we thought that the students should be taught about.
And how is that program going, sir? Is that successfully? A lot of kids talk about it, and you have any stories that you hear about when they read about in this chapter, and they
programs are going on as per the target set, the area target and the time target. We are considering that, we are moving as per that only. And the farmers' cooperation also we are getting now. Now they are. They are doing it their own, because in the initial stage when fertilizer was stopped, suddenly, then farmers they started asking, if that is so, what are the alternatives? How do we have to meet the nutrient requirement of our crops? So these were the questions in the beginning, but somehow we gave this alternatives of chemicals and organic manures. Now, in the organic policy, we generally do not encourage inputs from outside sources, because the inputs from outside sources, there's no guarantee about, chemicals. So instead of that, we promote on-farm production of inputs. Whatever manures are required, we prepare ourselves so that, we are convinced, we are 100%, sure that it is free from chemical. So that way, we are subsidizing our farmers for infrastructure like, vermicomposting. For vermicomposting, they need the pits. For that, government is giving subsidy. Similarly, for preparing manure in the cow sheds, farmers do not. If the farmers do not have cow shed, government subsidizes for construction of pits. So that way, now farmers, they are. We are trying to make them self-reliant as far as manures are concerned. And even pesticides also, local biopesticides are being used. Herbal pesticides are there nowadays. So that way, farmers, they are sustaining, and hope, they will do better.
Yeah. And once they're once, as you phase it out, you said that earlier 8,000 hectares of land was converted, and then 15,000 hectares will be converted. So ideally, the entire state would get converted. You also talked about organic certification. What is the certification, sir? Is it something that's given? Who gives the certification for land saying that this is organic?
Yeah. No, certification, actually, it is a process. It is a process wherein initially we call it ICS development. It's called Internal Control System Development. That is basically database, going to farmers, and then baseline survey is done. Their land holdings records are collected, their crop detail, their cattle and everything, is recorded. So in the baseline data, once the baseline data is collected, what we do normally, we call it as service providers. The service providers, they are engaged in this. We have trained our local educated youths through our livelihood schools. We train them, and after training them, they are employed with the service providers as field supervisors. So these field supervisors, go door to door and collect data. It is a process. After collecting data, then the meetings are held, orientations are held, training is held, internal inspection is done, TraceNet entry. APIDA has a website where this has to be registered, and online registration takes place. It is called TraceNet entry. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, GPS data also has to be recorded. So all these steps are taken up by the service provider. The work of the service provider is checked by certification agencies. Now in India, we have about 21 certification agencies accredited with APIDA under Ministry of Commerce. Uh-huh. APIDA is the authority to issue licenses to certification agencies. So we have altogether around 21 of them in India. So in Sikkim, through national level tender, we selected some of the best ones and engaged them. So they check the work of the service provider, whether they are doing in a proper way or not, whether the data collected by them are correct or not, whether farmer is aware of it or not. So that is called external inspection. So once the inspection is done by the inspectors of the certification agencies accredited by APIDA, then they finally recommend for certification. But when they go for inspection, if they find that a particular farmer, if they find that there is an old bag of urea, empty bag of urea lying in the premises, so he will just catch hold of the farmer and then say that, you say that you're going into organic, but I find that, an empty bag of urea is lying there. Maybe that you have used it recently, and this kind of questions they will ask. So if he is convinced that, this was used long back, then there's no problem. Otherwise, if he finds that it has recently been used, then they issue non-compliance report. So once the non-compliance report is issued, that particular farmer won't be recommended for certification. So this is the system, and the certification agencies finally, they issue certificates. Certificates in the form of group, comprising of say 400, 450 farmers, that is the group certification, or as individual certification. So this is the process.
Awesome. Very well explained, sir. Thank you for explaining in depth, and very good insights. Right now it seems like Madhya Pradesh is one state that's said to have the highest area under organic farming. And do you get inputs from other states, sir? Like, I don't know whether Madhya Pradesh, it's a conscious decision to go organic farming route, or it's just that by practice they've been doing it for a long time. Do Sikkim state align with other states that are faring well as far as organic farming is concerned? How does it work, sir? Do you guys look into the other states?
Yeah, at the moment in India, many states, they say that they are also going into organic. You said Madhya Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, they are also saying that they are going to organic. Uttarakhand is saying they are also doing. Northeastern states like Mizoram, Nagaland, these states are also doing. South Indian states, Kerala wants to do in the hilly area of Kerala. So similarly, many states, even Bihar, are saying that they want to go into organic. But our state is a hilly state where the farming system is a rainfed farming system. We do not have assured irrigation. So therefore, the productivity is comparatively lower than in the plain area where there is assured irrigation and high use of high inputs. With the use of high inputs, and they get bumper crops. But in hills, it is not like that. So under such situation, we go for high-value, low-volume crops, which gives more remuneration than the field crops. So that is why Sikkim, as far as Sikkim is concerned, we can, as the government has taken decision, we can easily go into the entire state. We can easily go into organic. Whereas bigger states, Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh or Punjab, I don't think the entire state they can take over, because they also have certain mandates. Like Punjab has a mandate to produce wheat, for the food security of the country. They have to produce and supply to in the national grid, so that for to the rest of the country they have to feed. Similarly, Andhra Pradesh has to produce rice. West Bengal, Bihar, they have to produce rice for the national food security. So entire state they cannot go into organic. They can take up in pockets, plantation areas, food plantation, vegetable area, like that. In Maharashtra, if you say the mango growing area, they can easily go into organic, because as such mango is being exported. So if they go into organic, that will fetch a better price and the farmers will benefit it. Bihar, like Muzaffarpur, if you have heard of, from that area, the best lychee is produced in India. So as such, they are exporting. So when they go into organic and send it, the farmers will be benefited out of it. But entire state they cannot do. Madhya Pradesh, they are saying they are doing cotton and some crops. I don't know. We have no figure of how much of area is being done by Madhya Pradesh. But Madhya Pradesh is a big state. Maybe they maybe have more area. We have no idea.
Right. Sir, you mentioned about food security, right? National food security. There's a lot of conversation going on genetically modified food and the organic food and non-organic food. There's a lot of conversation going on. And also recently the Supreme Court, there's a case in Supreme Court. On the central government side, they're arguing that the genetically modified food will provide food security. So what is your take on this food security, sir?
Well, food security, no. Actually, to feed the 130 crores of population of this country, millions and millions of tons of rice, millions and millions of tons of wheat is required every year. So for that, all efforts are being done, to increase the productivity and overall production of the crops. So but sometimes, because of bad weather, because of drought-like situation, the crop production and productivity, goes down, and the overall production also goes down. So in that situation, it's very difficult, then we will go into the deficit. So that is why, for the national food security, all efforts are being done, with the use of high-yielding variety, genetically modified variety, with high input and high irrigation. The bigger states, they are doing, as much as they can. Whereas our state, being hilly state, we are not too much concerned about food security. We are concerned about by going into high-value, low-volume crops. And that also, it fits well in the organic system, and the farmers will be benefited out of it.
Right. Sir, and also I wanted to bring up this topic of farm suicides in the country, and there are a lot of reports that say that a lot of farmers have committed suicides. And right now in AP, recent news says that farmers are selling their organs to clear the debts, which is really pathetic, right? How is Sikkim doing, sir? Do you hear these kinds of stories where farmers committing suicides? And do you also think this organic farming could help these farmers who are committing suicides in a much better way? Do you find any connection between all this, sir?
Yeah, that is happening in the bigger states, in the plains, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan. We hear that farmers, they are committing suicide because they are Their system and our system is little different. They take single crop. For example, sugarcane. So 5 hectares of sugarcane, they take loan from the bank and then go into a single crop sugarcane in 5 hectares. But because of drought or some other situation, if the crop fails, the entire 5 hectares will go. So, the farmer will be in debt, and then, that leads into the activities like, suicide, crime. Whereas our state is a hilly state, we have a mixed farming system. Here in 1 hectare, the average holding is also not very big. It is average holding comes to around 1.25 hectare. So within that land, they do mixed farming system. And they for example, maize. If the maize is there, then inside the maize, and they are taking ginger also, vegetables also, beans they are taking, and chilies they are taking. So if one crop fails, the other is there to sustain. So that is why, that kind of situation doesn't come into our hilly states.
And sir, I wanted to, because you're an expert in this field, could you enlighten us what would be the dangers of a non-organic food and a genetically modified food or crop which used fertilizers or insecticides, etc.? Can you bring out a little bit of dangers of these foods, sir?
You mean to say dangers of
non-organic food? That means a lot of people claim that organic food is very healthy, very good for health.
Yeah.
And
yes, organic. The basic. Why we are going into organic? The benefits of organic farming. First and foremost, the fertility of the soil is sustained for a longer period of time. If you use excessive chemicals, the physical condition of the soil is deteriorated. The chemical condition, imbalances of nutrients takes place. And with excessive use of chemical, the microbial population in the soil goes down. Along with there are many beneficial microbes. Those microbes also will, the population will go down. Similarly, the autumn population goes down. The things like that happen with excessive use of chemicals. And now, protection and conservation of environment and ecology is there, of course. It cuts down the expenditure by 25 to 30%, and contributes to healthy living, decreasing the risks of health ailments associated with the chemicals. Now, I give one example. It is recently happened in Kerala. There is a district of Kasaragod in Kerala. It is a hilly district where plantation crops are there. The planters, they sprayed endosulfan chemical for about 10-12 years. So now, in that region, the recently born children, all children, they are either deformed or mentally retarded. So that way, they are suffering. Similarly, and the incidence of cancer has also gone up. Similarly, in Punjab, certain areas of Punjab where excessive chemicals were used, now there is, they say that the cancer incidence has gone up, and in fact, there is a train from rural Punjab to coming towards Amritsar, which they call it as a cancer train. Why? Because more than 50% of the passengers traveling in that train are suffering from cancer. They are going to cities for treatment. The name of the train itself is the cancer train.
My God.
So these kind of things happen with the excessive use of chemicals.
So what is your take on genetically modified foods? There's a lot of conversation going on, and also the Supreme Court has received multiple inputs from all these eminent people saying that genetically modified food is bad, it's not good for health. There are some people claiming that genetically modified food will basically have a large, it will help because we are 1.3 crores, 1.3 billion population. Yeah. So they're saying that they're claiming that to cater to the needs of such huge population, GM foods are very, very important. So what's your take on genetically modified food, sir?
As far as genetically modified food is concerned, in the organic system, we do not introduce GM, seeds. We generally avoid. Of course, it is genetically modified, and that has the effect in the human health naturally. But in the hills and the organic system, we do not even think of in a GM.
Right. Right. And sir, if you could explain a little bit about the BioVillage program, that was very interesting. What do you guys do in BioVillage program, sir?
We introduced a BioVillage program also. Under that, we took many villages, around 100 villages we took. So in every village, in those villages, trainings were given, orientations were done, field demonstrations were done on with this effective microorganisms in making the manures. We call it EM technology. So with EM technology, farmers were trained on how to convert the green matters into manure. Then biofertilizer is a cheap source of nitrogen. So biovillages, in the biovillages, biofertilizer demonstrations were done, and farmers were trained about use of biofertilizer, which is a very cheap source of nitrogen. Similarly, green manuring crops, legume crops were grown, how to grow, when to grow, how to make it into manure. So these kind of things, trainings were going on in the biovillages.
Very good. And because you brought up this fertilizer things into the foray, even before I wrap up, I wanted to ask you this question. Do you face any resistance from these fertilizer companies because they're losing their business eventually? And also, we talked about GM, Monsanto and others who bring up GM seeds.
Yes.
Do you have any resistance from this?
Yeah.
You have?
No, that controversy is there in the country. The fertilizer companies and the GM seed producers, they may not like to go the people going into organic. With that, the sale of fertilizer and the chemicals and the GM seeds will go down. India is a big market for them.
Right. And is the government facing stiff lobbying from these GM folks and fertilizer companies, sir? What do you think?
Yes, of course, and a little bit of pressure, I think, there in the government also.
Okay. So, Dorjee ji, it's a pleasure and a great honor talking to you today, and thank you very much for explaining in depth about what's happening in Sikkim, and you being the brain, the man behind the entire initiative. Of course, there are a bunch of other people as well, but I'm really pleased and honored to talk to you today, sir.
It's very nice. Thank you very much, and I welcome you to Sikkim. Once you please come to Sikkim and see by yourself.
Absolutely, sir. It will be a great pleasure to come to the northeastern state, the hilly region of Sikkim, a beautiful place. And if we make it there, I'll definitely meet you, sir.
Okay, please.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Dorjee.